8 teams entered now, only 3 remain here as we get into our second semi-final of the tournament here for the DreamHack All-Stars Summer Regional for North America. My name is Kyle Laris. Alongside me at the desk this time we have Dreadnought as well as Zoya and Jake over very, very far to the left over there. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me once again. We have EU and NA. And obviously, looking at
the split, dude, every time.
Hello? What?
He's basically European at this point. Like
he is.
He's spent so much time across the pond.
Up until this event, he did more European than NA.
He's not wrong.
He spends a lot of time across the pond,
Across the pond, sir. Across the pond.
I can't even feign the accent. It's terrible.
No, please don't. I've heard it
Oh,
before.
like I was even close. Still take the risk, though.
All right, well, let's check in with the bracket and see exactly where we are so far here during the tournament. Obviously, we will be getting into that second semi-final in just a moment. Gale Force are defeated and are taken out by Team Niventic, which took them 2-0, pushing Niventic onto the grand final. Then, of course, we have Cloud9 now going up against Cognitive Gaming as they propelled themselves forwards as well into this semi. So, but Cloud9 have been looking good there yesterday, especially against Niventic, especially on Towers of Doom. Towers of Doom, very, very strong.
Yeah, they're the one team that hasn't dropped a map to date, right? Or in this tournament so far. Cloud9 has been very dominant. They've actually busted out very stun-heavy composition for their first game, going with a lot of Misha, a lot of ETC, Tyrande, Kalefoss, pretty much every stun you can imagine. And then they actually played a very different style. So we're going to have to see exactly where they're going to land today. Do they go towards their stun-oriented compositions for every game, or are they going to be able to mix it up for their games?
We'll see. We'll see. That Rexar really a thorn in the side for a lot of people, or a thorn in the paw, depends on what you want to really go with. But anyway, let's take a look closer at Cognitive, of course, as our first team going into this semi-final, as they are a team that I would say comes in more as the wild card here for this top 4. Obviously, Gale Force was a little bit there as well, but Cognitive didn't have exactly the smoothest path through to the round of 4. So, gentlemen, talk to me about Cog and talk to me about their position here at the moment.
Well, I mentioned it towards the end of that last cast that Cognitive never performs well day 1 of event, whether it's due to nerves, whether it has to do with lack of preparation going into the event. Day 1, they never seem to do well, and they do turn it up a bit day 2. Let's just see how well they'll be able to do that.
I feel like the one thing that I am looking towards is that we did see Cloud9 actually moving in towards that Stunlock style composition yesterday, and Cognitive ran that all day so far today. So is that going to be a point where Cloud9 is worried about it, or are they just going to be able to play around it or try and get a deny maybe out of it here with the Tyrande? Because as you said, they maybe struggle in day number 1, but in day 2, the combos all day in the first 2 matches they had, they were really convincing.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we didn't get much chance to see Cognitive yesterday. Most of it was on the second stream for them. Up until today, of course, when we actually saw them going up against Astral Authority. Who are the playmakers that you're really looking for in Cognitive? Who are the guys that are going to push them that little bit further here to go up against Cloud9?
McGlauron, for sure.
Right.
He's the playmaker for that team. He's been a playmaker since his start of his Heroes of Storm career. Known for being overly aggressive, though. And Cloud9 is one of the best teams in the world at punishing someone who overextends.
Yeah, but we saw some crazy powerful play by Faye on Kalefoss earlier today.
Yeah.
I mean, those gravity lapses were just straight up winning fights. You know, hitting 2 to 3 people with the Verdant Spheres, but powering that. It looked quite nice, and I honestly don't know if there's a single person that really just dominates that, you know, the power for them. They all look really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you, actually. Where typically I go with Glarong, I actually feel like Faye is usually the one who struggles kind of on land when it comes to Cognitive's past. And this tournament, it feels like she's turned it up. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like that is going to be the playmaker for me in this series.
Well, we did catch up with Iacona from Cognitive, of course, before going into the semi-final to see what he thought about his thoughts on this tournament.
Personally, I felt like I played pretty good. I could have improved overall, but I felt like I was at like a 90% level, so there's still a little bit of work to get better, but it's been, as we've been playing more and more matches as a team, we've been getting better and better, and our matches are looking a lot cleaner, so going into this next match, I feel we'll be at the top of our game. I feel like we played very clean overall. We very little mistakes. We executed things perfectly, so I felt really good from this series that we just played. So I was really happy when I heard that DreamHack was going to come to Austin. First of all, because like I went to school here, I loved it. I was so sad when I moved away, so it's great to come back. But also because that's just another that's just another tournament organized, another land. That's more tournaments, more money, more viewership, more eyes. Really great for the esports scene and also for Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, so it's actually quite amazing to have my family come out. Originally, they weren't quite sure about me going into esports as a career, like the viability of it. But after seeing that event, they've been really supportive of me, and they've been really happy and wanting to know, when do you play next? Like, when's the next tournament? Can I get the link? And my brother actually came out. He wasn't able to come out last time in Vegas, so it was really nice to have him come out now and also see a tournament live. Cloud9 is one of our main scrim partners, so we played a lot against them. So going into this match, I feel both teams have a lot of knowledge about each other, and there won't really be too much like secret strategies being pulled off. It's just more about who's just the better team and who can play better.
And that was Iacona. He made a tweet about tweeting out a victory for you could potentially win yourself a portrait from Heroes of the Dawn, the player portrait. I retweeted it, and I'm suspecting I didn't win, so Iacona, I'll remember that. But of course, he mentioned that they do practice quite consistently against Cloud9. And that has to be a big factor here going into this, right?
It's hit or miss in my opinion.
Because he specifically scrims against Cloud9, they try stuff in scrims a lot.
Okay.
Just to throw off opponents sometimes too. So it's hard. If it was any other team, sure, but in this situation. But I actually want to go back to what Iacona said about his family being supportive and here at this event. I actually met his mother. They're all here cheering him on. He actually has a super supportive family, and that's so cool that his family actually came down. I believe they live up in Dallas, but they drove 4 hours down to just, cheer their son on at this tournament.
That is cool. That is cool. But I mean, actually, as you were mentioning just then, I mean, I recall back to BlizzCon, and Cloud9 were just scrimming against people and just sandbagging. And then all of a sudden they got towards the end and they were able to dominate people like taking the shots. So that is actually something that we may have to consider as well. But of course we have Cloud9 on the other side, boys.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see sandbagging here. This is the semifinals. They're going to be going all out. So we've been seeing a diverse number of picks in this tournament by this team. Obviously, based on the map, we could very well see things like the Dahaka come out. Haven't seen a lot of Dahaka, but again, always going to be a threat. And of course, the Misha and Rexar. Misha, a great hero.
Not something that gets brought up very often, because they were only together for about 3-4 months, but Arthlon and Glaurung were teammates for a very short time, with Dreadnought here, actually.
Yep.
So they do have some idea of how each other thinks and their overall play style.
Yeah, and you were talking about the scrim results and everything else. I think one thing that is very important if you are cognitive is to be looking at false positives. I bring that up a lot, is teams will go, well, we've been beating them all day, but you need to ask yourselves, like, was it the composition? Were they actually trying like to their full effect?
That's how I feel about
and a lot of it comes down to looking at why did you really win, and was that actually their true skill level, and comparing that. And I feel like that's something a lot of teams struggle with here, not just in NA, but even in EU, I feel like we see it at times. So not surprising there. So cognitive, if they've done the research, I feel like it can be at their advantage, but if they have not, then it's just going to be a bunch of false positives that may punish them here.
All right, we'll see about that for sure. We can actually also check in with Cloud9. We have K1 Pro, who gave us a little bit of a conversation as to how he feels about the tournament moving forward.
Feels great. I mean, just being at DreamHack is awesome. Like, I've always just loved esports and followed DreamHack in Europe, and now it's finally in America. It's also my first time here in Texas. It's a really good experience. I think we played really well today. I'm really satisfied with how we played. We played our game. We had a plan, and we executed our plans in draft. And then we executed them in game also. It was just a clean set. My goal in this tournament is to take first place. And we definitely have the ability. It's just a matter of if we show up in the playoffs or not. This is probably the first big tournament where all the North American teams are really strong. Just the performance of NA overall has gone up so much over the last 6 months. The mindset is just counter the enemy team. Every team has the way they play, and I just want to dismantle that. Yeah, the audience is great. I mean, Cloud9, our team in general, just loves the crowd, and we thrive off it. We definitely play better with the crowd. When you hear the crowd cheering every kill, it just pumps you up. It gets your team talking loud, gets communicating. Just everyone gets hyped and plays better, it feels like.
Respect for the crowd and respect for the American scene there from K1 Pro, as he does believe truly that the level across the board for you guys has gone up. Is this the turning point? Is this where America is now starting to push even further and further here with their skill level?
Well, I mean, I think it's a constant state of improvement, but it's the rate of improvement that matters. And right now, NA is progressing slower than the other 3 regions. In my opinion.
Well, thanks for that.
Did you just admit that Europe is better than NA for the first time on air?
No, I've said that several times on air over the last few weeks.
Don't lie to me.
Did you?
Yeah, I've said that like 8 times during Gold League.
Passion
Oh,
lost.
great. Well,
you guys should study a better region, and you'll hear me say those things.
Whoa.
Apparently he doesn't know that we mute when he's
I was about to say, I listened to it on mute. Lol.
Got him.
Got him.
I think after watching the spring season, it's pretty obvious that China, Korea, they're the dominant forces here in Heroes of the Storm. I mean, top 4 was China, Korea. All 4 teams represented those 2 regions.
All right, well, we can get into the map vetoes, boys, to see how it's gone down between Cognitive and Cloud9. Once again, best of 3, so 1 veto each. It will be Battlefield of Eternity, and then Infernal Shrines, and we have Tomb of the Spider Queen, Sky Temple, and if we need it, bada boom, bada bing, it's Towers of Doom.
You just love that map.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we finally got an Infernal ban.
It's
that's actually C9's ban last time against Naventic as well.
Was it?
Yeah,
Really?
they removed Inferno as well. So, and then you saw that C9 actually opted in to take Naventic to Towers of Doom.
Yeah.
So it's really strange that Cognitive opts in to take it to Towers of Doom for the map 3. So in what is debatably C9's hardest opponent so far in this tournament, which most people would probably argue was Naventic, they went to Towers, and Cog still is willing to put game number 3 on it.
All right, well, let's take a look at our first battleground, of course, or battlefield, I should say, as we go into our first one. Jake, why don't you take it away?
Okay, Tomb of the Spider Queen, we've seen it quite a bit this weekend, but yes, it's all about collecting those gems. That is the core objective. Get the gems from the minions throughout the lanes. Now, if you do, in fact, destroy your opponents, they can lose the gems. You cannot steal them. But those gems are quite valuable in its own regard. Turning them in will give you the power of the Web Weavers, and this is why we see such a high priority for the actual lane clear. Yes, being able to clear the minions is crucial. Oftentimes, we'll see early picks on heroes like Sylvanas or Azul. Also, Tassadar has a high priority because stalling out the turn-in of those gems is incredibly crucial in denying the power of those Web Weavers to the enemy team.
All right, well, we've seen quite a bit here. We've seen quite a few picks that have been more prevalent, like the Sylvanas, like you've been mentioning before, and things that do come down. What other things are we going to be looking at here from Cog at C9? Is Cog willing to even do something like a Kerrigan on this map? Is that something that could be the potential here? What are we thinking?
I think Kerrigan is on the table in the hands of Glaurung for sure.
Yep.
But what they've been playing lately is a lot of Tyrande-focused play style.
Yep.
Well, we have the draft already.
Oh,
Good to go. That was snappy. That was quick and fast. As we do jump on in here. Game number 1 between Cognitive and Cloud9. Let's jump into it. Kael'thas and Li Ming. Get rid of the mages. Get rid of the wizards. All that's left is Jaina. She's not going to be picked anyway.
And it looks like they lock in the Zul rather quickly there. No surprise. Cloud9 with the response. I think they'll be going with a Stunlock-oriented composition. They actually go with ETC and Tyrande right out the gate. So instead of giving the option to Cognitive, they're right out the gates going to just say, hey, we want it for ourselves. So will we see the first Rexar ban of this tournament? Are they willing to let C9 have that all the way through?
You say, will we see the first Rexar ban of the tournament? Will we see the first Rexar ever?
We've talked about it, that Rexar is paired good against these Zul, and we saw a very early Zul pick here from Cognitive, and it was played by Cawthon Luck earlier today when we had Glaurung on the Grey Main. So multiple Zul players on that team now. Asmodan being hovered here by Cloud9.
The ban out there, wow,
yeah,
really surprising.
Just respecting it. They don't want to deal about it, just taking it off the table. It's a very Cloud9 thing to do. They used to do this for Abathur all the time when they didn't like playing against Abathur.
Right.
It's just a style they just want to nullify. Now, a few things to point out here. Tassadar hasn't been touched yet. And additionally, I mean, with this strong lane presence, the Zul and the Sylvanas, lots of push. So we've seen very little Zagara in this game. Do you think there's a chance that we see Zagara or Thrall to be the strong laner on the side of Cloud9?
I think it's an option. For Cloud9, I think it would be Thrall, but I really feel like they're just going to go the Rexar route. They're going to keep going with this mass stuns as any situation that they can denies.
Any situation that Cloud9 could go Thrall, they're going to go Rexar. They never play Thrall. iDream hates that here, unless it's Solo Warrior.
Unless
it's Solo Warrior, they don't play Thrall. It blows my mind.
Battlefield, they'll play Thrall. That's about it.
I was told a story yesterday about after a game that Cloud9 had played, iDream was spoken to by a fan who brought up Rexar, and he's never been so engaged in a conversation in his life, apparently. So, yes, there is that slight love for Rexar for sure.
Yeah.
I really feel like the Tassadar ban is a little fearful. I guess Cloud9 does have the opportunity to pick it up, but I don't think it works well with the Rexar style composition that we think they're going to be going to. And it also provides wave clear for Cognitive if they let it go through, and provides an answer to the hyper stun lock that they have. So I actually don't really like that ban. Even though Tassadar works well, I don't think it works well with the Rexar style they're probably going to move into.
I agree. We're going to be seeing Malfurion again from Cloud9. I believe when they played on this map, yes, they had Malf, right? Yeah.
It was Malf.
That's a Rexar.
And then Rexar. Yep.
Yeah.
That is the exact same strategy, giving the wave clear and the roots.
Yeah, Roots synergizes with Misha's stun very, very well. If you're able to catch a few people in there, it's almost the chain.
There it is.
There it is.
Yum, 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 yum.
I love me some Rexar. There it is. Second time. 100% win rate in this tournament. I think he's got a 100% win rate at just the competitive level right now.
Well, it's just iDream, man.
Because it's just
I was gonna
the
say,
2 times he's been playing.
I can't wait till that infographic comes out at the end of the tournament. It's like, best win ratio, Rexar.
At mage changes, rather.
All right, well, of course it does get locked in. And then on the other side, Cognitive hovering Uther at the moment. Pretty good in terms of the sustain that they will want from this.
It is going to be a solid response to be able to deal with the stun locking, but again, I feel like a Tassadar option here would have been so appealing for Cognitive. So where are they going to go with the rest of this? They do need a backliner. They can go with another tank as well to get more health bars, but it's just like I don't really feel there's going to be any direct response that I'm like, oh yeah, that was a really good answer to what they're already going to be facing against, because Cloud9 was pretty convincing with this composition before.
I like Gust from this though, right? Gust to
Yes,
help get rid of all of this.
It gives you breathing room, but with how short the cooldowns are, it's like realistically 60 seconds versus like the combo is going to be 8.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a situation to where I don't feel like it's a solid
If
response.
this was a bigger map, this makes more sense. You can, just rotate around. You can split push to avoid this, heavy rotation.
But it's too small.
But it's too small. This is Tomb of the Spider Queen. This was any other map. This was like Infernal Shrines or Curse. Maybe this would make sense from Cognitive, but I just think they had. I love the Zul Sylvanas a little bit, but it's just so much split push for such a small map that Cloud9 is just going to be in their face. Ooh.
Oh, a lone Uther versus Lunara. This is going to be very difficult to deal as it is. So going into, early game, yes, a lot of rotations, a lot of picks, huge stun potential on the side of Cloud9. But once we get to the late game, Thornwood Vine, all that damage, they just poison, just chunking through the health bars of everyone on Cog. Uther will struggle with that.
Yeah, I'm very scared of the AoE potential on the side of Cloud9. If everything gets locked down by Roots, by Misha Stun, by Thornwood Vine, by all of that poison, this is scary, surely.
I mean, it's absolutely terrifying, but I feel like Cognitive walked into it, so I don't really feel bad. I just hope they have an answer.
I mean, is it in part by banning Tassadar themselves? Didn't you want the Tassadar there? Wouldn't that have helped a little bit against some of this if you were able to shield everybody up before a fight?
I mean, I guess maybe I'm just the only person who believes in Tassadar. I feel like maybe
No.
I just constantly have been harping about like where the bans come in and where the pick prioritization, and for me it's kind of mind-blowing in some situations, because we see this constant Tyrande style play from almost every team. And he is the only soft, he's a perfect response. You get better wave clear, you get equal map control, you get a response to the early game aggression. It's like a win-win, but every team keeps going like, we'll either give it to them or we'll ban ourselves out of it.
Well, I agree with you 100%. I had questions for the European pros after the event where they had all the Lunara pickups, and they say that even with Uther and Tassadar, Lunara is still too much for them to deal with.
Well, I mean, that's without just like even viewing the Lunara aspect of it.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's
Before
a lot of
the
others
Lunara
killing a
aspect,
problem, but it's like all that early game where you're not sitting there going, well, at least Cognitive has the early game going for them. They have the wave clear advantage. You're like, okay, so at what point do you plan to win this game? Is like when looking at those 2 drafts already.
Right.
I feel like, I just hope they have a plan for the Rexar, because otherwise, I'm sold on C9.
I'm trying to look at what they have as a plan for the Rexar, and I can only think off flanks, off full stack getting so aggressive that he almost dies.
Sure, they have great push potential with Sylvanas and Zul, but is it even going to matter? Like, there's plentiful lane clear. The sweeping strike sweeping strike from Rexar is actually better than you would imagine. He's a warrior that does deal nicely with the lane, and he'll probably grab Birds of Prey at level 7. So I just don't know if there's a weakness in the side of C9, or rather, I don't know if Cog has a composition that can pick them apart.
I agree with that. I'm not completely sold on the Rexar being like an unbeatable strategy, what they have at all. I just think that there's a very specific play style and specific compositions that have to be a response to it, and we don't see that for Cognitive to the
Not
point
right
where
now.
I agree. It's just like I don't see it because like if you can essentially if you pick up Misha enough, it gets you in a position to where you can just then try and force the engage past that point.
Yep.
He becomes a lot less significant. Ignore him completely. Without Misha, he's just going to feign death. Don't worry about him. Focus targets, hard engage. But then it's like, well, Zool, you're going to poison Nova. That's actually pretty appealing, except Tranquility. Solid response going to be coming into that. Sylvanas is Wailing Arrow. Well, you're like, well, Tranquility Mouth is actually the best healer into a Sylvanas, so you're going to have a rough time there. Then it's like, well, the False Dad, I mean, you might be able to gust it away and everything else, but again, it's just like you're burning so many resources to remove the Misha. Your next hard engage is going to be very improbable. It just
the moment for me that they just kind of force themselves down this road is when they picked both Zool and Sylvanas. They should not have picked both of them.
I think it was the Murrah.
You think it was the Murden?
Why did you need the Murd in there? Did you really need Murd? Is he going to change this game? Because Tassadar would have changed the game
What would you have picked there instead?
Tass. Just take Tass.
I don't think that would have changed what we're currently at.
I would argue they're in a far better position than they are now.
I think prioritization-wise, they're never like not picking Muradin there. They're never gonna. C9's never gonna take Muradin. Would they have banned it? I don't think so. I think they were too scared of the Azmodan because why would you be banning Azmodan if you weren't scared of Azmodan in this instance?
Even if let's say they let the Murden go through and they just C9 took the Murden, does that change the situation, the
C9 already
playstyle
had
and composition?
ETC at that.
I know,
Exactly,
but that's what
the
I'm saying. Even if they even if they chokehold them out of the tanks, it's like, do you really feel like you got a better position because you picked the Murden there, that high up? Like, are you gaining anything out of that higher prioritization? No.
I think if you didn't go any other warrior, there's no point to have there's no fallout for the Zool at all. Like all you would have if you went Joanna in this situation, say Murden did get banned out, you would have Joanna with Zool, and there's no other CC besides Uther with the Zool. It just makes that hero so much less impactful, I feel, in the team fights.
I still don't know whether they'd have banned it though.
Yeah.
With the Azmodan being the ban. But anyway, I mean, just so you guys are informed, we do have a bit of an update. One of the players does have a little few audio issues with the headset, so we'll be getting into this in just a bit. So we can keep talking. We can keep talking about these beautiful little compositions that we do have. Still a little bit worried for Cog. Obviously, like going up against a Rexar, let's theorize really here, because there has to be an answer for this. There has to be some answer for it. What can you bring to the table to deal with something?
They won't pick Rexar if they don't have Tyrande.
You think? Just
take away the Tyrande. They're not going to run Rexar without Tyrande. The Tyrande is what enables them to get those kills, is the Hunter's Mark after in the Lunar Flare stun follow-up. So if you're if on this map specifically you're afraid of the Rexar, you don't need to ban the Rexar. You can ban Tyrande, which limits a lot of other options as well.
Right. I'm just trying to think of other forms of dive, right? I mean, Sonya was completely open for this too, and Sonya's not too bad at getting into the back lines. They had the ability to go for Uther, go for Sonya, really try to invade and get to Rexar. Yes, Rexar excels in, you know, just stunning and controlling, but if you can get to him, if Misha's a little bit too far away, you catch him off guard, Dream is a sitting duck, essentially, right? They don't have big heals. Malfury and Tyrande individually, they don't necessarily have Ancestral. They don't necessarily have Divine Shield. They do have a lot of healing available, but Rexar has a decent-sized health pool. Not huge.
I'm about to go crazy. Is a stun on towards Rexar and then Hinterland's Blast an answer?
No.
No? Not even?
No, because at 16 you get Feign Death and you can kind of just...
Yeah, you just juke it.
Fair play. Fair play. Can you do that if you're stunned?
Well, I mean, immediately after, but if it's still
going to be... see the stun coming. I mean,
it's a 2-minute cooldown too, right? You're spending so many resources just to try to deal with the Rexar. Like,
there's Duck Train up on the screen there, the captain of Cloud9.
He's on a great show, man.
You're such a... You two were on a great show, actually, huh?
I mean, not really.
Oh.
Hello?
Pardon?
Hello? I'm sorry. I'm trying to find an answer. I'm trying to look.
It's
at
difficult. It's a conundrum.
Where are you at right now?
A conundrum.
Bring your head
Death Ball it. They have
Ball
no
it?
single target healing that's really that substantial, and you're just going to keep throwing Misha out there, absorbing a lot of damage, so you just get a lot of CC, a lot of hard engage wherever you can. You ignore him completely. When Misha's overextended, you get a pick on her, and then you hyper engage in any way, shape, or form. Tyrande can't really save targets too well. Mouth can't do it either, so you just look to get onto the backline as quick as possible and as fast as possible. How do you do that? My argument is a leap style play. Off the top of my head, that is something
Sonya.
that I think of
right.
as a response. She can do well into killing Misha. She can dive onto the backline pretty consistently, a solid soul laner. But I'm still finding I don't have all the answers.
It's so hard to like commit to that when you don't even know. Like Cloud9, if like say they see something like that, it's like say we do figure out the counter to Rexar. Cloud9 can just like not pick Rexar at that point.
I suppose one thing to reinforce what Dread's saying is that technically, if you look at the damage from C9, it is actually quite slow. if you are going to go that hard onto someone, yes, you are going to all get poisoned, but Lunara's damage is quite slow in this effect.
Till you throw Hunter's Mark in the equation, a lot of stun and lockdown, the amplified poison, it does propel late game. So early on, it might seem slow, but once they do hit level 13 and level 16, they're going to chunk. Exactly.
I wanted Falling Sword Leap is my answer right now.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. And like
maybe all you do is you take JoJo. She's a solid response. Provides the wave clear. She responds to. She can also use her Iron Skin to be able to get out of the stun lock. She gets the wave clear on this map specifically. She provides the hard engage. Sonya's a strong solo laner. Can survive that a little bit more better. You pair it with a Tassadar, provides the wave clear in answer to the hard engage that they have. Then once you do that, you die the backline. Malfurion can't save a single target. Lunara is going to die, or Toronto is going to die.
All right, guys.
Someone is dead.
All right, guys. Got to interject here. We need predictions from you guys. I do like Falling Sword. Does a lot of damage. It's nice.
Agreed.
All right. Starting with you, Jake, and all the way down.
C9.
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 Done.
4 C9s. Production's going to have to catch up with that one. Boom, 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 boom.
Kill fast.
That's me. That's me.
I thought it was Kel'Thas. I was like,
it's like we have freeze here. Kel'Thas. All right, okay. Let's get into it. It is going to be game number 1 here of the second semifinal of the day between Cognitive and Cloud9. Take it away, Jake and Zoya.
Alrighty, guys, this is the other semifinal. Cloud9, Cognitive, 2 of the oldest teams in the Heroes of the Storm community, will be meeting once again in the semifinals.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting match. Cognitive has hit this roadblock in several tournaments, Jake. Will this be the final time that they can break through and make it to a grand finals?
You know, I want to believe so. We'll have to find out. This is Tomb of the Spider Queen, and on the blue side, that is Cognitive. We have Cattle playing on the Murd, and it's going to be Coffin on the Sylvanas. Going down, we have Iacona playing Uther. It's going to be Glaurung on the Zool, and last but not least, Faye playing Falstad.
And here on the right-hand side of the map, make some noise for Cloud9. Arthalon playing Lunara, K1 Pro playing the Tyrande, iDream on Rexar, Dunk Train on the Malfurion, and King Caffeine on the ETC. That Malfurion skin threw me off a bit.
That's what he's there for. Alrighty, well, we are here, and at this point in time, we do see the talents being locked in. It's going to be Hunter-Gatherer for Rexar, going for a bit more sustain for the team. Moonburn and Malfurion, just giving a little bit more lane clear. Critical to be able to rotate quickly from lane to lane. Now, Cloud9 has a very stun-oriented composition. Look for the ETC Power Slide, the Misha Charge, and then the Lunar Flare follow-up.
What we do see here that both teams are posturing in the middle. The stun goes down, the follow-up route is there, the Lunar Flare comes out, but do they have enough damage? I don't think I saw Hunter's Mark go down onto Cattle. Arthalon taking a decent amount of damage, Misha getting very low, and they're going to go ahead and back out. Not enough damage to burst on Cattle.
Yeah, good attempt, but great response there on the side of Cognitive. Very early on, just kind of showing their hand. Now, Cog knows exactly what they're up against. The question is can they find the correct response? Huge damage going in. Beautiful Dwarf Toss out of Cattle to get out of harm's way, but the damage going on to Misha, it looks like Misha will be able to back on out.
And you can see Cognitive is trying to figure out how to answer this. You see them putting a lot of pressure on the Misha, and so far, it is not working out for them.
It's tough because, you know, Men Pet is such a powerful ability. Lunar Flare just a little bit late, just kind of forcing Glaurung away from King Caffeine to get the sustain on Malfurion. Not a common thing to see a healer like Malf solo laning, but with Moonburn sufficient in this role. Not necessarily the best lockdown, right, yeah.
Yeah, and since they have the Tyrande in those roams, in the roam squad, they do have a support with them. So.
Yeah, and Tyrande in the roam is far more valuable with Hunter's Mark and Lunar Flare than the roots of Malf.
We see that Dunk Train getting pressured here pretty hard in the bottom lane as Glaurung and Faye are pushing in this lane as hard as they can. At the same time, Cloud9 controlling the rotations from mid to top and really doing a good job of shutting down the Sylvanas that is played by Coffin Lug.
Okay, well, I mean, the question in this game is really whether or not Cognitive can find their way to dismantle C9, especially level 10. And Zoya, the question I want to ask you is if you think that we'll see Playmaker. It's very uncommon. The sustain of Avatar is critical often for most Muradin players, but do you think that Playmaker could be something interesting for this composition?
Maybe. It just depends on how much damage Cloud9 is doing in the late game, and Avatar could be pivotal in keeping alive. It just depends on... we did point out that with Lunara, you are lacking that burst damage that usually is paired with this type of composition, so it is possible. I wouldn't rule it out, but I would still say I lean towards the Avatar.
Okay, well, another cool thing to point out here in the early game, especially the control of these coffers, we see both the Wisp of Lunara and Misha of Rexar, really just controlling a lot of space, just really warding up the entire left side. So Cloud9 did completely control that coffer area, get a few of those gems, just 13 turned in. The gem count in general is very even in this game.
Here comes an aggressive rotation from Cloud9. Caterpillar is going to interrupt it. Hangamarang coming out from Faye, and they are going to be able to kite back. We are going to be seeing a Loon's Grace picked up on Dunk Train just to have a little bit of extra range on his route to get that follow-up CC for Cognitive.
Yeah, it's a nice talent. Gives Malphs a little bit more safety. Actually, all of his abilities get the additional range, and it's hard to pass it up, especially if you're worried about being collapsed on. Malphurian doesn't have a whole lot of self-sustain until level 13, where he picks up Ice Block. Well, 27 in the bank right now for Cloud9. They have done a nice job controlling, again, this turn-in point. Dead even right now when it comes to the gem count. We've seen Bone Prison being cast on iDream.
A lot of damage going to come out here. They're getting him very low. K1 Pro comes up, gets a turnaround stun, and a lot of damage going down on Iacona. Good body blocking coming from King Caffeine. Kona trying to kite up. iDream gets a stun with Misha, and there it is. First blood to Cloud9.
Beautifully done there by the team. The body blocks were critical for Misha to be able to get there in that moment to pick up the kill, and that's going to net C9. The advantage for this team on the top coffer to try to get the turn-in for the first Web Weavers.
A single gem has been turned in quite yet here for Cognitive. It's just been a great job of scouting from them as well as just denying the turn-ins. It looks like Cattle is going to try and turn in some gems, and they do get 22 into the top, but Dunk Train and Caffeine are going to dump a lot in the bottom here. 32 to 22 gems turned in, and as both teams are approaching level 7, you know, this could be a very big moment in one team getting a lead.
Yeah, that's when things are going to start to get a lot more interesting. It's going to be there's no real window for a power spike, but, you know, it's going to net a lot of new, initiations for them. Cleanse also critical on the side of Cognitive to responding to the massive amount of stuns that Cloud9 has brought to the table.
Level 7 picked up here first for Cloud9. We will be seeing the cleanse on the Malfurion, as there is a decent amount of CC between Zool, Muradin, and Uther, so he's just going to be playing as safe as he possibly can.
Okay, nice power slide forward. They don't quite catch Glaurung in that. Zool backs away, but he did pop his shield. So that will be in cooldown for a little while. Arthlon took some heavy damage backing away. The heals from Malfurion are sufficient, and the Web Weavers are now here to siege on up. Yeah, now Sylvanas Zool mega lane control, but it doesn't really benefit them that nicely for the defense.
Yeah, now Cloud9 is looking to pressure in this mid lane. They get the front wall down, and now we're going to see them rotate up, it looks like, at least with Rexar, to try and get a little bit of extra soak up there and get this front wall down. Still very healthy. And while these guys have really good push, they have really good wave clear when it comes to cleaning up something like a Web Weaver, we can see they're just struggling to do so.
But look at the damage from Arthalon on Lunar, though. He's just really chunking through these structures. Very powerful. Once he's level 7, and Malfurion does fall, so that's Dunk Train dead somewhere here on the map.
Bottom.
Gets caught
Zool
out.
and Falstad got him. Down here, actually.
No, there he is. Oh. Rip Malfurion. So Dunk Train giving the first death there on the side of C9. C9 will just back away. Of course, Misha can scurry her way home. No! Misha!
The bear falls.
I'm so sad.
But you know what that allowed is you give up Misha. She doesn't give full experience that a hero would, but what that did do is let the rest of Cloud9 escape. Because of the split push we have from Glaurung, he's not sticking with the main death ball. We do have a pause here.
He used the whole team's pauses, all of them, 0 remaining.
Yeah, they were really struggling to hit that pause button.
Sometimes, your APM is just too high, and you click the pause key like several times in a row, and it's GG. All right, guys, well, we do have a bit of a pause. Not sure of the exact reason behind this. Iacona potentially experiencing some issues. Could be numerous things.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the state of the game here, as we do have, here's the Cloud9 players. They are doing a good job with the rotations, but you got to give it to Cognitive with Glaurung. He has been maximizing the experience game with that split push on Zool, putting pressure in the bottom lane. He got a front wall. He's been pressuring mid lane as well. So what you'd expect the situation with the Web Weavers there for Cloud9 to be ahead, they're even on experience. So Cognitive is doing a great job so far. Cloud9 don't feel like they're punishing the split push hard enough right now.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, yes, they have pushed pretty nicely. The Sylvanas Zool is great, but I feel like that's going to lose some value in the mid game. It's always great in the late game, and it's great if they manage to get the turn-in of the Web Weavers, but if C9 does manage to completely control that the way that they have so far, I mean, what is maybe 12, 13 gems have been turned in this game? I don't know if that push potential is ever really going to matter.
Well, we do see it was actually 22 gems turned in there, as I did get a glance there
nice.
at the mini-map.
You're a detective, Zoya.
Yeah, I'm able to read things. It's cool. I like that ability. It was King Caffeine who has been considered one of the best warriors in the world for a long time. But his throne here in North America has been contested as warriors like Urho and now Zuna are, and even Caterpillar.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of people have different opinions right now, and for a while people have been saying Caterpillar might be the best warrior in North America, not only because he's good mechanically, but because he's a shot caller as well.
And he's got a diverse pool, right? He looks comfortable on just about every single warrior out there. And I have to say, Cattle looked so fantastic in the match earlier today. Look at that beard, though. That is fantastic.
Looking like they're in the zone. Not much chit-chat going on as they're just ready to play. But don't see too much frustration on the end of Cloud9 here.
Yeah, once again, everyone, this is a qualification match for the Grand Finals. So the team that wins here will advance to play against Naventic. From there, only one team can be the champion, and the champion of this tournament will actually qualify for the Summer Worlds, the Summer's Global Championship happening at DreamHack Summer later this year.
That is Caterpillar right there, the warrior and shot caller main for Cognitive Gaming. Really cool guy. Formerly of Complexity, and he's also been in a situation similar to JPL, where JPL making the transition from damage to warrior back to damage. Caterpillar has played multiple roles. He has been, for a long time, was considered a flex player here.
I forgot about that, honestly.
He's such a good warrior, you wouldn't expect it, but yeah, he was a very good flex player for a long time.
Now, Zoya, if you had to draw a picture of a Caterpillar, what would it look like?
I'm not prepared for those kind of
so
questions.
You got to be ready when you cast with me.
Yeah, it would be a Caterpillar with, you know, black and white spots, I guess, and then it's, I don't know, it moves. Well,
you're gonna draw me a GIF?
I'm not gonna draw.
You said it moves.
It moves because it's a cow. Moves. We got a few cool assets that we want to show you guys, as we have a lot of cool stats that we've been collecting about the players, and of course, you know, just the general tournament itself. And this is going to be the Heroes of the Storm Summer Championship. We already have 2 teams that have qualified. I believe that would be Dignitas and eStar Gaming.
Yep, from Europe and Asia, respectively. Now, this is, of course, the full breakdown, though. There's competitions happening in Australia and New Zealand. We have, of course, the Southeast Asian competitions, Taiwan, Latin America, China with Gold League. We have, OGN happening for the Star League, yep. And then in North America, this is DreamHack Austin with the ESL LA finals happening a month from now.
Yeah, and then, of course, the final European qualifier will take place actually a week from now.
DreamHack Tours. Yeah, that's over in France. Actually, all the European players have been boot camping all week long, preparing for their tournament. Yes, Dignitas has already secured themselves a spot. They will be playing in that regardless. They actually went undefeated in Leicester without dropping a single map, if I'm not mistaken. Quite impressive. They're kind of just dominating the European scene right now.
Yeah, and I really think a lot of it comes down to just Bakery, not just as a great player, but anytime I talk to that guy, I feel like I'm just getting smarter about
brilliant.
Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, he's actually just way too intelligent when it comes to this game. And we also have, this is our current bracket, everyone. Gale Force and Naventic just happened a bit ago. If you missed it, be sure to catch the VOD. Truly an epic series with Naventic advancing on into the Grand Finals.
And then, of course, we do have that Cloud9 versus Cognitive now. Only one team qualifies for Worlds, but if there's a situation where you get second place again at the next Worlds, you will qualify. So there's still a lot of money, as well as, you know, the potential of it helping you into the second qualifier for getting second place.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It is a big deal. But of course, guys, everyone, if you're enjoying the games, we'll be back into it very soon. You can use the hashtag DHAllstars all weekend long. We've got the semifinal and then the grand finals coming up immediately after. Here today, Iacona just thinking, prepping, making sure everything is set up.
We saw the interview with him earlier, you know, and he talked about how his family's here, which is really cool. Iacona being one of the longest standing players in Heroes of the Storm, dating back to the early alpha. He actually quit a job at Google to pursue pro gaming, and that is what you call passion. Here he is, I mean, one of the best supports in North America, just such a well-rounded player, and he never seems to be one that is affected by tilt. He always seems to be that kind of middle ground for his team, the the reason behind why they do things.
Yeah, and he approaches the game in his own way. He does
Yes,
it like
he's
a lot
very
of other players seem to be influenced by like whoever's having the most success. And Iacona has never been like that. He's always had his preference, his style. He's very specific at min-maxing every situation. He's holding on to talents until he absolutely needs to grab that talent, right? If there's no benefit to having cleanse, he's not going to grab it. If he doesn't need to show that he's Ancestral Heal, this is like it's almost like a mental game, because C9 is saying, all right, well, he hasn't grabbed Ancestral Heal. We expect Ancestral Heal, but in the off chance he grabs Bloodlust, we have to be ready for that, and they have to constantly hit the tab screen, go and look to see what talent he went for.
There's Cloud9 thinking carefully, but looks like we are ready, guys, going straight back into game. Cloud9 maintaining a slight experience lead. Now the Web Weavers have been cleaned up, Jake. They do not have enough for another turn-in, but Cognitive does. They are very close. They only need to get 13 more in, and they will have Web Weavers of their own.
Yeah, experience is slightly in favor of C9. Level 10 is dangerously close here on both sides of the map. Now remember, we did have the one turn-in on the side of Cloud9, so they do need 55 in total for the turn-in.
Level 10 almost here for Cloud9, and that's why you see Cognitive take this kind of more safe positioning. We'll see if Cloud9 can get in a lot of these gems. 30 being turned in by iDream right now. It's a big worry off his shoulders, as he is a very expensive piggy bank right now, and he's getting very close to those heroics. And there we go, Cloud9 with the advantage. Caterpillar trying to get the 13 in here. Came Dunk Train interrupted in time, and he does stall out while Cognitive loses Glaurung in mid.
Yeah, Glau is down, and Coda is taking a ton of damage. Hunter's Mark has been applied, and Starfall cast the moment they hit level 10. Iacona will fall as well. 2 for nothing in favor of C9. They're pushing this middle fort.
They're pushing the fort. We do see that Falstad is still bottom lane, not going for a turn-in just yet, but finally Cognitive has their level 10.
Yeah, level 10 picked up here. They're thinking about that last talent there for Zool. We do have Avatar, Mighty Gus picked up, so there's no playmaker. Wailing Arrow going to be critical to shutting down that back line and allowing the team to safely engage. Of course, if they can Wailing Dunk Train before he casts that Tranquility, he is a sitting duck of a support. Curious
to see that we see the Skeletal Mages here. We'll see if Glaurung can use that, you know, when you have that hard dive from Misha, ETC power cycle through. If you could get a good Skeletal Mages down to kind of split the team up, that could be very helpful in this fight.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of cool potential. Then also just makes it very easy to hit big Wailing Arrows if you ever see C9 clumped up. But Cloud9 will get that turn-in on the Web Weavers once again. So really controlling the center of the map with the threat that they present with all of these stuns. They are sitting at a full level lead.
Uther here. Still holding his talent as per usual from Iacona. When he needs Divine Shield, he will use it. Power Slide used from Key Caffeine to escape. No follow-up from the rest of C9. We do see Misha gets the stun onto Cattle as well, but Cloud9 will just kind of zone them back as Web Weavers have spawned. We got a pretty big push here in the mid lane, or bottom lane here for Cloud9.
Yeah, the middle fort's already pretty much down, so they have this bottom lane to really just open up and go to town. You see already the huge damage from Lunara. The Web Weaver has walked all the way up, and this fort is gonna fall. Sylph is soaking the top lane. That is a nice benefit. They're gonna get additional experience from that soak, cleaning up the Web Weaver while at it, but Cloud9 is starting to get dangerously close to level 13.
Yeah, they have really maximized their experience here. The Web Weaver in the bottom lane is still very healthy. Now, Cattle does get stunned out here. Nice Dwarf Toss, though.
Wow, and they force out Gus. That's actually a big deal.
Yeah, 60-second cooldown without that.
They spent a basic ability Power Slide to force out a full-minute cooldown, which is phase Mighty Gus on Falstad. So that is not the best of situations. Both these bottom towers look like they're going to fall to the Web Weaver push.
Level 13 here, almost for Cloud9, like you said.
Oh, look at Cloud.
Skeletal Mages coming in for the flank. We got the root going down on the King Caffeine. Boars do come out. Cleanse was used onto Cav. iDream gonna get Misha very, very low, but a lot was used there on the end of Cognitive, and it doesn't seem like much, but there's the mosh pit!
3-man mosh pit, huge damage coming out here on the side of Cloud9. It looks like we have the Divine Shield coming at the last moment to keep Muradin alive.
Tranquility was used as well. Actually, a lot of heroics across the board, where every single heroic is down right now, but Cloud9 still willing to actually push into this keep. Misha taking a lot of damage, but good job keeping him up.
It seems a little bit aggressive out of C9. That looks like they're starting to back away. Beautiful Divine Shield there from Iacona. If Muradin fell, this would have been probably a downed keep. So Kona clutching out at the last moment. iDream going to scout with Misha, but Misha will pay with her life.
Misha Poor Misha. Really great job from Cloud9. I mean, I like the aggression onto the keep. This makes it to where if they get their next Web Weaver, they can do a lot of damage. But King Caffeine, Cotton Slow has to use Power Slide defensively. Do they have an interrupt for Cattle and Faye? No, they don't have one for Faye. That's going to be a Web Weaver for Cognitive.
Okay, Cognitive getting their first Web Weaver turn-in of the game. They are still level 12, so it's all about how many towers can they take down. The chance of them even getting a fort here isn't really that likely because yes, they have Sylvanas, yes, they have Zul, that's great, but they need to be worried about these flanks, and with C9 having a Talontier advantage, they can be pretty aggressive.
Level 14 almost here for C9 as they are going to rotate down to clean up these Web Weavers as well as they can. The top one does spawn pretty far back, which is going to be a struggle for Cognitive to get much value, but they do catch Glaurung there. Nice cleanse from Iacona, and they're going to kite back.
Yeah, huge damage cleanse on cooldown, like you mentioned. It's a big problem. That's why we see Arthlon starting to get a little bit in the face of them. In the mid, Web Weaver has already been dealt with. They can now rotate to take care of the bottom and top. Top one is already half dead. Hasn't even made it to the middle of the map yet.
Yeah, that's this is not too much value out of this Web Weaver here for Cognitive. They did get some damage down here in the bottom, but Directstar should be able to clean this up before they lose that fort. Top is already so low, like you said. Caffeine looking to try and get in the gauge there. Just a little bit of light poke on that front line. This is going to get Cognitive level 13, and C9 now only a level and a half up.
Yeah, basically they spent the gems to catch up in talent here, right? But they're still down more than a level at this point in time. It's going to be very difficult for them to find an even footing. But they do have 89 gems. That's the one big saving grace here for Cognitive. If they can turn in again, they can snowball this, trying to get a fort down, trying to get a second fort down. If they do that, the game will be dead even.
Now both teams do have enough for a turn in here. Misha is going to go ahead and scout out. Oh, but will he take a lot of damage? The Zul root goes down. They're applying a lot of pressure to him. And will Misha actually fall? No, Misha doesn't go down. And they get the turnaround onto Glaurung. The boards come out. Caffeine zoning aggressively. Good body block going. Wow. And they get the power slide. Nice Divine Shield. Gust though. And they're going to be able to walk away with Cognitive not losing a single life.
Okay, Divine Shield and Gust both spent there. The initiation was really mainly just the boars that came out from C9. So good responses on both sides. C9 trying to get a turn in. Beautiful Stormbolt from Kettle does call out quite a few of the gems.
Arthlon doing so much damage to this backline right now. Nice double Lunar Flare from K1 Pro. Kettle very far forward. Cognitive getting body by Glaurung. And a two-man mosh pit. Nice. And I love the cleanse, the preemptive cleanse from Dunk Train to make sure neither of them would be able to live if that mosh pit did get interrupted.
Beautiful heads-up plate there. The synergy between Caffeine and Dunk Train on point. And we have Rexar, turning in those gems up top. That's going to be yet another summon of the Web Weavers here for C9.
You see that Cognitive is trying to figure out how to play against the Rexar mid-game, and they keep trying to go after Misha. And maybe if they had a little bit more lockdown, a little bit more burst, they would be able to do that. But they invested a lot into it in the bottom lane. They overextended for it, and C9 punished them for it.
Yeah, it's definitely dicey. Level 16 has just been picked up. You can see how hard the Sentinel hits with Ranger, and all three Web Weavers are quite far forward. They're not really as staggered as Cognitive would like. This is going to be a very hard push to defend.
They're going to lose bottom keep for sure. It already took some serious damage. It's uncontested right now, and the Web Weaver is pushing straight onto it. C9 is trying to maximize what they've got here. And actually, they might not lose bottom as two members did end up rotating down, but here's 16 for Cloud9.
All right, looks like Faye will clean up the bottom one, but that keep is indeed very low. The middle wall has gone down. Caffeine was scouting up the top position, but realizing that they can now push on in, he's looking for that money power slide once again. In terms of
Misha goes in for a double stub, but no follow-up from Tyrande. They're playing this as they're just waiting to be able to get that pick, and it seems that they utilize Misha the most to try and do that, because if Misha does overextend and there's no value with the stun she gets, she's going to be able to walk away for free.
Yeah, and Misha, yes, does give a little bit of experience when she does fall, if she does happen to fall in battle, but it's not the biggest of deals. I like this poke here out of Arthlon, realizing how much damage she does to Siege with the build that he's rocking right now. And Dream is just kind of soaking up huge damage from the top portion of this fight.
Yeah, it's like a group effort between Dream and the Malfurion to keep up Misha here. So we do see the Zul root coming out. iDream does lose Misha here, but the boars are used to help them disengage.
All right, great pressure there from C9, but they did not succeed in taking out the middle keep. It is very low. Still a full level before Cognitive is on an even talent tier, and this is quite detrimental, and there are quite a few gems in their pockets, but exactly enough, really, for a turn-in.
We do do see that Cattle does avoid the power slide. King Caffeine doing a good job of zoning so far. Glaurung's in a very bad spot. They're trying to turn this around. Starwalk comes out. Nice cleanse on the Glaurung. He stays in a few too long, and they have to use Divine Shield to get him out of there. But Misha looking for the follow-up stun is chasing Glaurung. Can she get in range? She gets the stun. Do they have Lunar Flare up? Zulroot goes on the K1 Pro. There's nothing to save Glaurung, and he falls.
The Lunar Flare on point does pick up the kill. We see in the bottom. They're diving in. King Caffeine in the front, forcing Iacona into a weird spot. Iacona will also go down. That's 2-0 in favor of C9, and they can pressure this top keep.
They also have mid and bottom as well that are both just a tickle away from death. So
yeah,
C9 has a
he's poking it.
There he goes. Yeah, keep gonna go down there just to the poison. No Tassadar to save it this time. So the slow tick of death. And the keep falls. First keep of the game going over to Cloud9.
Oh, C9 is looking at the boss in the top center of the map. They're going to try to pick that up, actually just starting it right now. Misha tanking it nicely, already down about a quarter of its hit points. So Cloud9, not enough for the tournament quite yet. They are still controlling both of the coffers. They are all over the map. Rexar at this point is basically soloing the boss.
Yeah, so far from 16. I know it feels like a skosh, but it just, without them soaking multiple lanes, it's going to take them forever to do so. Nice owl to interrupt both of this. Again, Lunara and Misha probably about to get that top boss any second now.
Okay, Arthlon gonna have to finish that off. The boss will be nice for the team, but Cognitive realizes they are in a situation where they have the upper hand in terms of
down
numbers.
for Dunk. He did use it early, but here comes the Wildfire board, the Boar's Flank. The stun does not come out quite yet. Misha misses it. Avatar pop very early here.
Shrink
King
right?
Caffeine taking a lot of damage.
All right, but Misha does go down. King Caffeine is very low. He's got to get, but they're focusing on Dunk Train all alone. Ice Block has been popped, but there is no saving him. Dunk Train will go down here. Now looking back in the middle of the fight, we see Starfall has been cast just to try to zone. Beautifully done, but Cloud9 is down Malfurion for a good 50 seconds.
Boss is pressuring top lane. Minions are pressuring bottom. They need these web weavers desperately.
Oh no, they're leaving this alone for way too long. That top keep is it's all but dead.
They get web weavers, but what does that mean, Jake? They've got they're going to spawn basically in their base. This is just, you know, stalling the game out for Cognitive. They're not going to be able to really capitalize on the fact that Malfurion's been dead.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they haven't even touched a fort yet.
Go
so
down.
top, yeah, I think it is. 2 more hits. Oh,
they so close. They're trying, and they save it just barely. Oh, that's a take a deep breath, Cognitive.
Yeah, that's
still
a big
got
deal.
2 keeps up. Yes, someone can go and just knock it down, but get your wave shoved out, and they'll be too greedy for them to do so. So a nice save there from Cog, just barely saving that keeps health.
All right, experience-wise, still very much in favor of C9, but 2 keeps that are very low on their end. Cognitive needs to make the most out of this push. They have the double specialist. They have the potential to really get a ton of value out of these wave weavers, but C9 is back at full power. Every heroic, every hero, they're all up.
We do see that Misha just with the crazy flanks here. Doing a good push here in the bottom. They should be able to get this one with the Sylvana. Starfall used, though, to zone them back. And they're looking for the chase here. Boars are coming out, Jake.
All right, Caffeine is coming from above, looking for that money power slide. Goes and gets 2. The stun from Misha behind. Where is the Lunar Flare? Huge damage on the Glaurung. Divine Shield is still available from Uther, but the poke is real, and Cognitive disengages.
Yeah, I think as Arclon's too far forward, Wailing Arrow comes out. Can they get him? And there's no saving that. Nice punish, but the Mosh Pit catches 2 members. Good gust. Yeah, Arthlon just getting way too aggressive there as they're still getting in this chase now. Nice Lunar Flare. Misha going to be sacrificed here to just kind of stall out for their team. And if they cannot get a Stormbolt here, they should be able to back away. But what I was saying was Cloud9, with that engagement, they weren't looking for kills. They were looking to force Divine Shield, force heroics. And they were able to get that. It was Arthlon's mistake to keep chasing because the rest of the team was not on the same page.
Okay, King Caffeine scouting this out. They're getting aggressive and stealing the Bruiser Camp, realizing they have a hero advantage, more than willing to do this. Top lane did get pushed out entirely by the Web Weaver, so we do have Rexar cleaning it up quickly, but this has finally given Cognitive a window, right? Top 4 down, top lane open, so if they manage to pick up a boss in the late game, they could very well bring themselves back if they can hold on to those 2 bottom keeps.
And even with all that, though, they took 2 forts. They're still down a full level here. Cloud9 on the verge of 20 tier. Playing this patiently as they do not have Lunara with them just yet. She just spawned. She's going to be headed straight over from the base.
Yeah, Dream just kind of doing his best with Misha to be annoying, to stall them out, get the most value that they can. Misha's going to get completely blown up, though. A little bit too aggressive with that bear.
A lot of gems here on iDream, so he's going to be a very heavy focus target for Cognitive, but he's still taking. And there we go, we'll have the 20 tier. We got to keep an eye on King Caffeine for that Bolt of the Storm. We know he loves to make plays. Boars are coming out. They want to force this fight. They chase for a long time. We see the root going down on the Faye, but no follow-up. Cloud9 trying to get a turn in here. They are zoning out Caterpillar with the knockback. But we see the power slide to interrupt it. K1 Pro gets a turn in, and that is Web Weavers for Cloud9. 1 keep down, 2 keeps on the verge of death. This could be game.
Just another power of Rexar on this map. Those boars alone zone for Cloud9 to get a turn in. One ability, yes, it's a decently long cooldown, but it bought them the space they wanted. Now they have 2 incredibly low keeps with a level 20 advantage and Web Weavers to push hard. Well,
you see that Cloud9 is starting to lose a little bit of steam when it comes to the team fights in the late game.
You're right.
It seems that maybe this composition it was very controlling in the early game, but you know, maybe with a late game style you can make that kind of punish late game. But we'll see what Cloud9 can do. They are wanting to push this last keep down here in the bottom. Top is being pressured as well by the Web Weaver. That's going to go down very easily. Still no 20 tier for Cognitive.
They're close, though. They're very close. So if they can hold on to this, they can definitely defend. Cloud9 does not want to overcommit. Even though these keeps are all very low, it's just about dead for all 3. Oh. Wow, the good cleanse did come out there to keep Coffin up, but the re-engage there from Cattle is a little bit aggressive.
Wailing Arrow does come out, but nice timing on the Tranquility, but Misha still goes down. Avatar popped very early in this fight, and that is going to be level 20 here finally for Cog, but they have lost 2 of their keeps, Jake.
All right, they've been doing a really good job blowing up Misha every single time, and you'll notice when Misha goes down, Cloud9 is not willing to fight. That is 1 stun that they just find to be crucial for all of these engagements. Look at that keep, man.
That keep. I know it's got to be driving Cloud9 insane, the fact that it's still alive. iDream very far forward here. He doesn't have Faye. Death gets blown up very hard by Cognitive. Gus used to interrupt the mosh pit. Iacona, we see a defensive bolt from King Caffeine, but he's taking a lot of damage. Can they keep him alive? The Storm Bolt's there. The root from Malfear trying to zone for him.
The Bone Prison connects there, and King Caffeine is locked down, but Dunk Train manages to back him away. Everyone on the side of Cognitive is incredibly low. Arthlon just chunking
so
through.
Much
Uther
damage.
is really struggling to keep up with these heals. You see they're disengaging. This is a 4v5, but Cloud9 manages to bully them back.
K1 wants that keep. He keeps looking at it, man. It was a good engage. If they could have gotten a few more kills, they might have been able to do, you know, a boss death push, but unfortunately they weren't able to do that. Keep in mind that top keep for Cloud9 is exposed. They got that front wall down. So if Cognitive can win a fight, take a boss, they are still very much alive in this game.
This is reminiscent of Gale Force versus Niventic, where Niventic was so far ahead, but Gale Force held on for dear life for a massive portion of the game. And now, Cognitive, they have a bit of control on the map, and they're going for the boss. Gust just came off cooldown, so it is ready. King Caffeine,
no mosh pit. There's no mosh pit on the end of Cloud9. Tranquility just came up. They're looking for it. Wailing Arrow comes out. Avatar's been popped. Boss is very low. Glaurok's trying to take it down, but Arthlon's doing so much damage to the backline. Arthlon's too far forward, though. They're trying to turn on him. Faye's just about to go down. Wildfire Force come out, and they do lose.
Oh,
Divine Shield used.
Double Owl, the juke there from Fallside with the flight over the wall.
Arthlon's going to get it,
the boss. Arthlon does get a cattle. It's very low. 3 members down, 4 members down on the side of Cog, and Cloud9 will march across the map towards the core of Cognitive.
Uther does res, but I don't think it matters, Jake, as Caterpillar gets stunned out. Uther gonna die a second time in this fight. Nice bolt forward from Dunk Train with the body blocks. 5 members down for Cognitive. Last keep balls, and a boss headed straight to the core. Cloud9 with a very, very controlling game is gonna take number 1 off of Cognitive.
Zoya, the throw pit is real. It looked like Cog was bringing it back, but C9 will win it out in a 13-5 kill game here on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Really, really well done there from Cloud9, but I think we're starting to see some of the weakness with this strategy is that late game, they were struggling to just get a single kill. They would have the setup, they would get the stun, they would get the Lunar Flare, but you just get so much better healing, you get so much better survivability.
It's true, I mean, Misha did fall quite a bit. They learned how to focus Misha, and every single time that Misha went down, guess what? Cloud9 back away. And they were constantly conceding situations that looked like C9 was going to get a ton of value. Right? That bottom keep and the top keep lived for so very long. They get to turn in upwards of what? 5 or 6 Web Weavers?
Cloud9?
Yeah, they turned in like so many packs.
3 or 4 for sure.
Well, overall, nice to see that Cloud9 once again is able to do well with the Rexar, but it seemed like towards the later stages, they weren't able to round it out as quickly or as decisively. There were definitely moments there that were a bit more sketchy for Cloud9.
Professor Penfold, I know that whole time you were over there trying to think of what the response is, and he's got it. He's got it.
I actually feel like, I don't know if I have a perfect response, but I know the play style, at least, is kill them. It's aggression. Every single time Cognitive engaged on them, dead. Every single time they let them engage on them, that's what their comp is built to do. You stun lock, they use Misha as kind of a disengage, use the boards to try and get a disengage. They don't want to be engaged on. It's hyper-aggression is the response to this Rexar style composition. And we have replays of both situations, the trying to get an engage and not fully committing to it, and then it's going to be a really big struggle on the side of Cognitive, and the opposite, when they just decide to like, what if we just win in? Because Rexar is very poor when he doesn't get the proper situation where Misha is getting the zoning.
Do we have actually some of those replays?
Yeah, we do actually.
Take a little bit of a look.
The first one is a little bit different compared to the second one here. So like right out the gates, look at the engage. Obviously Glaring being slightly out of position here. And this is the dream situation for Rexar, is they've already burned a majority of the cooldowns. Are going to be on the backline, and all they're going to be doing is trying to chase and confirm kills every situation. Look, oh, guess what? You're running away. This is the dream for C9. And this was kind of the story of the entire game, right? It's just like keep chasing, keep trying to make something happen. Targets are going to die. Lunara, Rexar, they will confirm kills. But there was 2 moments in this game where Cognitive actually decided that finally they would not be the ones on the back foot. They were sick of watching that happen, and we're going to be moving on to that one later on. And I don't know, again, I don't know if my composition that I kind of theorized before is necessarily the answer, but this back passive, sitting constantly back in the back foot is just, it's frustrating to watch it happen over and over and over, and no one goes, just go, every single time. Every time we've watched a team play against it, it's like, what if we just let them keep engaging on us?
Well, let's go into replay 2 to have a little bit of a look at what is going down. Once again, Mr. As you say, Professor Penfold.
Oh man, it caught off a little bit late there, sorry. The minute that Arthlon gets out of position at all, they just turn instantly wearing arrow, dead. And now look at how hard it is for C9 to be able to do anything. Tranquility's pocket gates that are backing out, they get a little bit of a good disengage there with Misha again, but it's that constant form of aggression. This is worst case scenario, distance of withdrawal, very easy because they've fallen so far behind in this entire game, but that was the only time Cognitive goes, all right, what if we're just sick of this happening? And I feel like that could have been happening in a lot of different times. Like, it didn't just have to be Arthlon overextending and turning on him. It could have happened at any point. It's just engage on the Rexar, and he has a hard time.
So you're talking about hard engage and just like go, 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 right? What do you think about Illidan or Zeratul against this?
I don't think Illidan can do it. I think Zeratul has the opportunity to do it, but I don't think Illidan can. He does get the engage, but he doesn't get the the force of the fight, right? Because like they can still run away, which is where Misha thrives.
Right.
On a different map, would Illidan be there, or is it more the map that causes Illidan to be kind of a bad option?
The map makes it terrible. I just don't like the pick in any situation. Like, it has to be a hard CC force to engage. Another soft response I was thinking of, but I don't think it's a true answer, is Tyrael. Providing the mobility so you can't get that disengage. If you do decide to take the fight onto him, when you get the root at 20, he can provide a solid counter engage. But let's be honest here, a majority of teams in NA just completely
unfortunately we're in
Arrow.
NA, and we don't see Tyrael at all. To be honest, it's unfortunate.
But the mobility provided with Smite mixed with Holy Ground is good at forcing a lot of the engage and having the sanctification as a response.
I like that.
Especially if it's on the right maps, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, is the case. Don't forget, the guys, that you can go over to gear.blizzard.com and you can grab yourself 15% off everything over there for Heroes of the Storm merchandise with the code as presented below here. We're going to go to a short break, but when we are back, it will be game number 2 here from the semi-final between Cognitive and Cloud9. Don't go anywhere.